I don't know about you, but I don't really jive with Elon Musk's plans on Twitter, okay? But that's okay, because that's not what this video is about. This video is about looking at earnings. We're specifically going to try to understand what the hell is going on with the consumer, especially at Airbnb. We're going to look at that Chinese impact over at AMD in terms of semiconductors. We'll look at EA, and we'll look at Cake. We'll see what other earnings we get as well, but those are going to be some of the big ones. Bloomberg terminal code today was CHEQ. So I don't know if that stands for checkmate. But if you're new around here, there's some important things you got to remember. In February, around February 19th of 2021, before the 2021 sell-off, we got a Bloomberg terminal code right here that literally said pray, and it almost never gives you words. And then in January of 2022, we got SH9T, and the ninth letter of the alphabet is I. And then the market crashed very badly. So there's something about those codes. But anyway, we're not into conspiracies around here. We're into earnings. So we've got earnings coming out in the next few minutes here. They're going to be pretty remarkable. Airbnb was pretty bullish going into this last quarter. They told us that demand was still strong going into the last quarter of the year. And certainly the third quarter, which is what they're about to report. We have a lot of optimism in the travel sector coming from not only hotels, but casinos. Big investment from billionaire Tilman Fertitta in Wynn yesterday. And this morning we got earnings from Uber that were very optimistic and bullish about consumers still spending despite rising costs. So very interesting. Let's get that closing bell and see what happens.
Of small caps, I'll just point out, is higher for a second day in a row and outperforming again, up 0.3. That's probably due to the strength in energy and financials, which is heavy in small caps, which are outperforming on the day. Worst performer is consumer discretionary. That's going to do it for me on Closing Bell. See you tomorrow. Fed Day. Now I'll send it into overtime with Mike Santoli.
Fed Day. Everyone loves Fed Day. All right, EA is supposed to report first right at the bell. They are not out yet. We've got Cheesecake Factory reporting 15 minutes after the bell, and they're going to be reporting at 4:15 here. Then we've got you actually have CHEGG Chegg reporting today. It's kind of funny since we got CHEQ. That's kind of like Tesla Q. Is that kind of like short? You got Camping World coming out as well. So, I've noticed after the pandemic, spending on camping has kind of gone down, whereas spending on travel has gone up. Airbnb options implying a 9.1% move once we get earnings here within the next 4 minutes. Oh, it's going to be juicy. Clorox reporting. I remember Clorox had like killer earnings during the pandemic. All right, EA comes out. Net bookings, 1.75 billion versus 1.79. That's a miss on net bookings. Foreign exchange impact of about 200 million. EA Q2 adjusted EPS of 1.45, but the forecast misses. Fiscal year adjusted EPS expected to come in at about a midpoint. What would that be? That'd be 30 cents, 15 cents, 7.10 for a midpoint. And actually, that's right along where they forecast previously they were guiding 7.05 to 7.15, which also has a midpoint of 7.10. They've just kind of expanded the range to the upper bottom a little bit. So a little bit more uncertainty there on the forecast. And that's on adjusted EPS. When it comes to actual fiscal year net bookings, their forecast gets cut, forecasting about 7.77 billion of net bookings, whereas they were forecasting 8. So, that's a few percentage points shy there on the forecast. Fiscal year, let's see. Okay, here we go. Q2 EPS coming in at $1.07 with revenue at 1.9 billion. Consensus for EPS was not $1.07. It was actually 1.37. That's a pretty big miss on EPS, unfortunately. GameStop down about 0.5% on these EA numbers. EA down about 4.85%. Following the miss there on EPS. pretty decent miss on EPS. I mean, you probably say what 28% miss there on EPS. Although small numbers, right? When you're looking at a buck, so it's easy to get high percentages. Okay. EA Player Network rose to more than 600 million active accounts at the end of Q2. Very good. Waiting now for AMD and Airbnb. Those are going to be the big ones today. We'll see what happens. I do think that EA is something, unfortunately, that's just coming under the weight of, the PC demand declining and people having less time for video games. I mean, I feel the same way. I feel like I have less time for video games as well. The focus got to be, you got to make money, during a recession. It's time to make dollars. It's time to make dollars and cents. I think that's probably one of the best things that you could do, actually, is during a tough time, is just put your head down and go make more money. Now, I don't want to sound like insensitive, implying that, it's just as easy as just saying it. But like, if you have any flexibility at all in your earnings power, which generally we do, we could choose to work overtime. We could choose to take the extra shift. We could choose to, start that side hustle and really grind on that side hustle. I mean, plenty of people start side hustles. How many people actually go through with the side hustles is, in my opinion, predicated on, really bad education for side hustles. But, maybe one of these days there'll be a program for entrepreneurs. But anyway, Airbnb is on deck within the next 30 seconds here, as well as AMD. So we're going to see those at roughly the same time. Cheesecake about 10 minutes later. Camping World and Chegg, kind of keeping an eye on them, but less important, I would say, than these pretty large ones here. I mean, semis for AMD, and then obviously travel for Airbnb. Airbnb is also going to be a big deal for HouseHack. Airbnb and VRBO, the short-term rental model, is definitely going to be a tool for increasing cash flow. There are not a lot of large companies that do Airbnb at scale. There are plenty of companies that just park money into multifamily, plenty that park money into single families, but very few that actually do short-term rentals and can manage it well. Okay, Airbnb, Q3 revenue, 2.88 bill. It's a beat. The estimate was 2.83. It's a slight beat. That's incredible. And the gross bookings value came in at 15.6, a beat versus 15.25 expected. Wow. However, nights and experiences booked missed 99.7 million versus 99.9 expected. So you had a higher number of revenue, higher gross bookings volume, but lower actual bookings, probably this inflationary impact here. EPS beat, nice beat, 1.79 versus the estimate of 1.53. That's great. And the forecast, slight teeny miss. Forecast midpoint, 1.84 billion versus 1.86 expected. I mean, this is actually not bad. This is really good. I mean, this is right along expectations, seeing some pressure from FX, some business mix pressure. That would be people basically renting a lower value, nights and experiences potentially. But then again, you still had, more revenue with less bookings. So that's an interesting one. I wonder what they mean then by business mix. We'll have to take a look at that. Airbnb actually down 6% on these earnings, and those earnings were not bad. AMD is not out yet, so I'm a little surprised by that. Chegg comes in with a nice beat. Adjusted EPS 21 cents versus 14 expected. That's a beat. Net revenue 164.7 versus 158.4. Revenue of 164.7. So clearly the Bloomberg terminal code was not talking about this company. That is very good. And you've got EA now down about 3.5%. Chegg only up about 1%. And Airbnb really getting hit about 9% right now. It's under $100. AMD getting smashed on these numbers, actually. I'm very surprised by that. Airbnb. I just want to be clear that I'm saying Airbnb. I may have been mixing up and saying AMD. AMD is not out yet. Or maybe I've been saying it correctly, but I don't know. Airbnb record revenue as travel demand remains strong. I'm very surprised by that. Oh, here you go. Airbnb sees slowdown in bookings as pandemic trends shift. Aha. See, this is actually what you kind of see a lot about on Reddit. A lot of people on Reddit are complaining that Airbnb bookings have plummeted. You've even seen this on Twitter. And people are like, oh, it's just too fee heavy. It makes more sense to go to a hotel where you have concierge and like an actual system for providing good customer service. And that's why I think there's such a huge opportunity, for example, for HouseHack to get into a more standardized accommodations model, very much like a hotel business, but combining the hotel business and basically wedge deals, right? Which I expect to be remarkably profitable. Knock on wood. But it's very interesting. That was one of my concerns, is that we would start seeing a slowdown from the consumer. And it does look like, on one hand, you have this note about Airbnb starting to see a slowdown in bookings, but you actually don't have a big forecast miss here. I mean, it was a teeny tiny revenue miss, 1.84 billion versus 1.86. You can't say it's that bad. So is it really, should the company be getting lambasted here with an 8.5% decline in the share price because of a fractional miss on the midpoint guidance? I don't think so. I think this is the market is reacting to potentially a change in growth expectations, right? That was the forward guidance. The forward guidance was 1.84 for the next quarter versus 1.86, which was the expectation. So you have that tiny miss on guidance. But I think it's just a red flag to the market that, oh no, what if this is just the beginning of a larger slowdown for Airbnb? And hence you're seeing this 7.5% decline. I mean, one of the best things that could happen for my startup, and I always like to be really, really transparent with where my biases might lay, is quite frankly, I would love for a bunch of Airbnb hosts to just get the hell out of the market and let me come in. I mean, that's obviously motivated by wanting to see the complete success of HouseHack, but otherwise, realistically, that will happen. What'll happen is, if it becomes less profitable for people to do Airbnbs, the people who bought homes at the height of the market, kind of like speculating like what they were in 2006, you know what they're going to have to do? So they're going to have to dump their properties. Actually, you know what? There's probably more of a risk that, damage to the Airbnb market could actually hurt the real estate market, as people who were speculating and not investing on real estate end up getting spanked, and then they have to dump their Airbnbs. Camping World Q3 revenue comes in at 1.9 billion. That's actually a beat over the 1.8 estimate. That is a beat. Wow, nice. The EPS comes in at 1.07. That's a miss. So miss on the bottom line, a beat on the top at Camping World. Chegg did pretty decently and beat larger gross margin expectations. Their forecast missed, though, so a little bit of a mixed report there. Cheesecake's not out yet, and we're really waiting for AMD here. AMD is going to be a big one. While we wait for AMD, I suppose we may as well look at that press release. No. Okay. Oh, I messed up. I see. Okay. All right. No problem. I'll fix it. All right. So let's get AMD back up, Kevin. So anyway, again, AMD is on deck. Airbnb has reported, and we reported a slight little miss there on forward expectations. Reddit r/real estate investing subscriber growth proves it's a bubble. That's actually an interesting way to look at it. I mean, really, I would say a lot less people are interested in investing in real estate when the market turns down, and that makes total logical sense. What I actually do think is phenomenal, though, is this is the best time to invest. This is why I love, and I think one of the best courses for anybody to begin with is the Zero to Millionaire Real Estate Investing course, because it teaches you how to be ready for this real estate cycle that we're entering into. And there's so much to learn about real estate. People are like, oh, when I'm ready to buy a home, I'll just Google it. Yeah, freaking right. says no one ever after they take the Zero to Millionaire real estate course. It's so detailed on how you can make money in real estate and where all the inefficiencies are. And I'll tell you, real estate is probably the most inefficient world that exists. You know, what I love is when people go on Reddit and they leave these comments like, well, one day real estate agents will be replaced by a program. Anybody who thinks that, and if you're thinking that right now, that's okay. I respect that. That's a normal thing to believe when you're not used to the real estate industry. But anybody who believes that doesn't realize that the job of a real estate agent isn't finding you a home. It's being your therapist. It's being your real estate therapist. It's ridiculous. It's not finding the home. It's kind of incredible. You get an agent that finds you a good deal and is your therapist. Now that's an agent you want to keep around. So anyway, all right. Still waiting on AMD here. I don't know. The numbers must be bad if they're this late. They're 8 minutes late here. I mean, we're about to get the cheesecake numbers before we're about to get the AMD numbers. This is ridiculous. Yeah, we need a therapist bot. Rob, if you don't like the plug for my courses and me saying things like, hey, make sure you take advantage of the courses before we raise the price for the Black Friday pricing sale, that you could leave. You don't have to be here. Real estate agents are glorified locksmiths. No, totally wrong. Like, you could honestly go show the home. You could go look at the home yourself. Looking at the home is a fraction of the problem. You get a real estate agent or somebody like me who walks through a property with you, I will tell you 200 more things than you thought you could have ever known about that property if you walk through that property with me. And I can tell you all of it in 5 minutes. Save you so much freaking time. And I'm not even an agent. I mean, I'm still licensed, but I don't even want your real estate agent business. I don't do that anymore, so I don't care. Like, I think I have zero bias in that world because I really don't care. Like, you could call me and be like, please represent me to buy this home. And I'm going to be like, no. And that's not to just like pat myself on the back. I'm just doing other stuff, you know? So I do think I can have like insider insight into that world without being biased. Still waiting for AMD. This is ridiculous. I'm about to freaking vomit here. Somebody here says AMD's 5 p.m. That's not what this says. It says 4:05. It says 4:05. Let me see here. Let me see what the Bloomberg people are saying. Earnings call is scheduled for 5 p.m. Earnings call, not actual earnings. The actual earnings press release should be out any second. Anyway, we're going to get cheesecake here. Oh, cheesecake! Cheesecake comp sales up 1.1%. Ooh, that's actually a real decline. That's a miss. Comp sales were expected to come up 2.8%. Wow. Okay. So that's a real decline. When I say real, I mean inflation adjusted, right? When your comp sales are only up 1.1%, it minus inflation, that's bad. Okay, AMD margin miss 51% versus 54.2%. Forecast miss. Operating margin miss 23% versus 23.3%. Revenue 5.6 versus 5.58. Tiny beat in the Q3. But it does look like the forecast misses for gross margin, at least the forecast. We don't have a revenue forecast. Oh, here it is. Revenue forecast is in. Oh, it's a miss. Midpoint forecast, 5.5 billion. Estimate, 5.85. That's a miss. That's about a 5-ish% miss? About a 5% miss there on forecast Q4 rev. Margin getting hit. It's actually not as bad as it could be. CapEx expected. CapEx, capital expenditure spending, is expected to come in at 123 million. Came in at 123 million versus the 102 expected. All right. Airbnb calls this their biggest and most profitable quarter yet. And again, Cheesecake misses with comp sales at 1.1% year over year. Adjusted loss per share 3 cents. We were expecting 29 cents of gain. Ouch. That's actually a big miss. Oh, they got hit on the bottom line. Oh, man. AMD is only down about 2% after this this miss on forecast. EPS comes in at 67 cents, missing the 0.74% estimate. I do want to know if we have any insight into AMD investor China. I like China. I don't know if I could ever visit China. I can't invest in China. You know, I always go back to what the Chinese consumers are doing because I think they know their government better than anyone else. And when the Chinese consumer says I'm not spending, I ain't investing. Simple. All right, come on. Give me your financial statements. Give it to me. Really? Where are your financial statements, AMD? Okay. How about some commentary about China? No comment about China? This is all I get? No, this is the preliminary. I got the wrong doc. Okay. That's October 6th. So why do I not have their latest filing yet? News, press releases. I found you. Access denied. Really, AMD? Download as PDF. Yeah, can't do it. It's broken. Fine, I'll do it another way. Print. And then download as PDF. You can't keep those PDFs away from me. All right. Oracle finally lays off people from its cloud unit. As many as 200 people are laid off. Ooh, burn. Today, AMD announces revenues. Blah, blah, blah. We already went through the numbers. Big deal. I want forecast. Comment. China. China. Why? Why would you not mention the word China one time? It's indexed. The text is indexed. No mention of China. What are you hiding? That's absolutely ridiculous. How could you not mention literally the most important thing that we care about? China. Well, I guess we'll hear about it in the earnings call. That's stupid, though. All right, let's look at their tables. Give me your finances. All right, come on. So gap adjustments. All right. Hold on here. Net revenue, that looks like cash flow statement, balance sheet. Go on. Where is it? Categories. This is such a mess. All right, segment info, data center. Okay, so this is millions of data center revenue, 2021, 2020, so left to right. Data center. Okay, what do we got for the data center here at AMD? All right, let's see here. 1609 divided by 1108. Year over year, 45% growth on data. That's good. Embedded operating income, operating client revenue. That's fine. I'd really like a normal income statement rather than this selected consolidated presentation garbage, but they're not going to give that to us. Fine. It's the worst part about reading company earnings press releases. They just give you selected corporate data. It's such garbage. Fine. Operating income, client net revenue. Okay, those are the two different lines there. So operating income, client net revenue. Operating income loss in gaming. And that's client. I see. Okay. It's very tough for me to read this statement here because it's just so messy. Okay, never mind. I'm just going to say this. AMD, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in your presentation of data here. I'm going to see if I can find a different way to look at this data because I can't read it. I think they do actually have other tables that I could use. Oh, even better. We'll take a spreadsheet. When in the courses, in the course member live streams, we do the when we do fundamentals, one of my favorite things to do is actually use the spreadsheets. They're so much easier to work with. All right, stand by. All right, here we go. All right, let's see what we got. All right, here we go. So much better. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a column here. And this is exactly what I wanted. This is so much easier. These are SEC formatted documents. So much easier. Now I can do some dividing here. And then we're going to format this. Oh, yeah. There we go. Okay, 29% growth in net revenues. Cost of sales up 25.6%. Good. We've got gross profit that's up 12%. Margin down 12.5%. R&D up 67%. Marketing up 48%. There, what else do we have here? Net income way down like 92%. What happened? Yeah, EPS plummeted like 94%. What happened? So where's the operating income? Here it is. Oh, they went to an operating loss? What? How'd they go to an operating loss? AMD, 3 months ended September 2022. Total cost of sales, gross profit, $2.3 billion. Holy crap. I mean, this amortization right here pushed them into a loss. So this was for the Xilinx acquisition probably. But still, even without that, their earning, even if I add that back in, their earnings would have been half of last year because their operating expenses exploded. I mean, their total OPEX here, if I just add up their operating expenses, if I go R&D plus marketing, where's G&A? And G&A, okay. So SG&A and research, 1.8 bill. I mean, they barely. Yeah, they'd be somewhere around 500 mil in the quarter of profit. Oh, that's interesting. Which compared to their operating income last Q3 of almost $1 billion, this is pretty ugly. But it was expected, right? We were kind of so it'd be interesting to see what that amortization looks like. Excuse me. If you look at their current assets, you've got cash and short-term investments here. If I just add those together, the sort of Kevin stress test number here, 5591. And I'm going to compare that to payables and accrued liabilities. Pop, I'll take those payables too. Okay, so they have cash to cover almost all of their currents. Obviously, they've got plenty of receivables and inventories over here. Look at that bounce in inventories, though. That's interesting. Here's AMD, and their bounce in inventories. Oh, wow. Year over year, bounce in inventories is, oh, come on, 72%. Oh, Kathy Wood's going to have a heart attack. Wow. You know, that was like, I tweeted this morning that Peloton has like $1 billion worth of inventory. It's so bad that now they're renting out Peloton bikes. And I'm like, what? Who wants to rent a Peloton bike for $90? Can we just run a poll right now? I want to hear it from y'all, okay? I want to hear y'all tell me. Would you rent a Peloton? Rent, not own, okay? And it includes the streaming. So it includes the service that comes with it, right? Okay? Start a poll. Would you ever, I don't want to impute bias, would you consider renting a Peloton bike for $89 a month? Yes? No? Ask. Okay. So I like no shade. I just want to know. I don't know the answer. I'm just curious. All right. So we'll let that poll run. Now, AMD segments. Segment info. Okay. This is probably the most critical part when it comes to AMD. Segment. All right. So let's do our little formula magic here. Our little, put some Meet Kevin Juju onto this spreadsheet, because who doesn't love that? All right, column actions. Come on. Sell. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Boom, boom. Oh, man, what is... Oh, hold on. I'm causing problems. There we go. No, okay, there we go. So, boom. And, oops, did I do it? Oh, Kevin, get the formula right. Divide. Okay. And this is going to be really fun when I get it working. There we go. Okay. Now you ready for fun? Watch how fun this is going to be. All right, you ready for this? Oh, you know what? Just to schnazz it up, watch me do this. Oh, yeah. Nobody ever thought you could have so much fun looking at a spreadsheet. 45% for net revenue increase on data centers. Client revenue down 39.6%. I believe client revenue includes PC. I want to fact check that really quickly, but I'm pretty sure client revenue for AMD includes PC. Let me see if I can get the AMD annual report. AMD annual. AMD annual report. Client. Embedded. Here we go. So this is from the annual report, and it says that server, client, embedded is telecommunications, network, security, storage, high performance graphics. What's just client? Sales and marketing, servers and processing. I'm pretty sure client is gaming, which would make sense, but for some reason they don't actually make that very, very clear in their last annual report. Okay, fine then. Back to where I was, which was actually in a spreadsheet. Okay. So, client revenue way down. What about game? Here's gaming. Wait, so gaming's separate. So this has to be PC though, which would be, well, but gaming would just be the chips. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Embedded, we saw. That's like separate from data center. Oh, they make it so confusing how separate these things are. That's all right. I'll go back and look at it in just a sec. Where are we growing? That's what matters. Oh, wow. Huge. Oh, my gosh. Why is that growth so huge and embedded? Did they parse out? That's a huge growth right here. 1,500%. All right, let's just do net revenue. So their net revenue is up 29%. Okay. I really wish. Oh, wait. There it is. I found it. They literally have a footnote for it. How convenient is that? All right. Data center includes servers, data processing units, FPGAs, and system on a chips for data centers. Okay, I mean, this makes sense, right? Like data center, I think, is self-explanatory. We understand that. Explanatory. There we go. Client includes microprocessors. So those are CPUs. But also chipsets for desktops and personal computers. Okay, got it. So client is PC. So this is PC and CPUs and notebooks. Okay, good. Gaming is GPUs and probably crypto. So specifically GPUs and probably crypto. GPU and crypto. And then embedded is microprocessors. Why is there so much overlay, I feel like? Microprocessors. All right, whatever. So other. But I think the annual actually give us a little bit more color on that. Because if we look at here, no. AMD, you're killing me. You're really killing me. Here. AMD, chipsets, graphic products. They said what embedded was because I highlighted it. Enterprise. Embedded is enterprise chips. Okay. That's the difference. Embedded is enterprise. Got it. All right. So now we understand. So this is enterprise. So their enterprise section is actually taking off, right? I mean, look at that. At 1.3 bill in net rev, that's now more than their PC division. Very interesting. I gotta make a little comment to myself about that. Embedded, so enterprise is now larger than PC and notebook. Okay. All right. Okay, AMD. All right, let's look at that Peloton poll here. So the Peloton poll says 10% of you would consider renting a Peloton bike, and 90% of you voted no. Thank God. I would never, ever, ever encourage anybody rent a stupid bike. If you need to rent a damn Peloton, you should get either a gym membership for a third that cost a month, or you should get yourself a beautifully made Chinese exercise bike for $399, which you could basically pay for in 3.5 months of a stupid Peloton rent, and you'd have your own. That is the stupidest thing in the world, to rent a Peloton bike. And the new CEO, if he drove that rent the bike thing, it's a complete moron. Drop the price of the damn bike. If you've got too much inventory and they're rusting in your warehouse because y'all don't know how to manufacture stuff appropriately, and you totally flubbed on your acquisition of Precore, which you could have actually done something with, you dumb morons, then what you really ought to do is take your stupid bike, cut the price of it in half, start selling these suckers for $4.99 a piece, sell them at a break even, and actually start making money on a subscription service like you're supposed to, you dummies. All right, that's my Peloton rant. Okay, so AMD, yes, thank you to whomever said it in the chat. But yes, that enterprise bump, that makes sense that that's driven by the Xilinx acquisition, which is actually really disappointing. Because now what you're saying at what was Xilinx, whatever it's called. What you're basically saying is, if you took that out, right? If you took this out of the equation, you would have a terrible earnings report here. You already have a terrible earnings report. Xilinx is how you say it? Xilinx? Who cares? It's a stupid name. It's AMD now. But anyway, that's interesting to me. That's really interesting, because if that mostly is Xilinx or whatever, now if you came over here and you took out the amortization, see, if I go over here and I take out the amortization of 590, but, oh, the numbers don't actually change, so I have to do it manually. But if I took out the 590 over here, so I'm gonna do that, okay? We'll take out the 590, but then on top of that, what we're gonna do, we're gonna take out their net sales. Do we have a net rev for that segment? Net revenue. Wow, we don't have a cost of sales for that, though. Dang it. That would be nice. I'd love to just take that whole segment out and see how the rest of AMD is doing without that. I guess I could use operating income. Yeah, I could use operating income. Okay, so let me take $635 million out of the operating income for AMD. So watch this, okay? So, oh, you can't because of the stupid cable. I told everyone I was going to change that cable today, and I still didn't do it. 635 out of operating income, and I take out that amortization. Oh my gosh. Look, you take out the 590 and you add in, 630, or you then take out 635, another 635, you're still negative. Even when you take out the amortization. So this is how it would work. Watch. No amortization, you put a 0 here, right? And then this number would actually be 64 plus the 590. That would be, because it's a negative number, it would be 526, would be positive. But then you would lose, assuming roughly all of the revenue from embedded, roughly, even if you only lost, $5 out of $6, you'd still be at a loss. You'd still be at a loss. So AMD would have gone to a loss no matter this acquisition. Wow, that's sad. I mean, now it makes more sense why AMD is selling for, You know, because a lot of folks are like, why is AMD selling for this substantially more attractive valuation than NVIDIA? Well, because if it weren't for their acquisition, they'd be negative. They're still negative with their acquisition. But anybody who looks at this and just adds back in the amortization saying, oh, well, that's not actually an expense, is kidding themselves, because the actual core of the business before that acquisition would have lost money too. But then again, it is possible that I double counted operating here, right? Because we would have had Xilinx or Xilinx or whatever over here in R&D and marketing probably as well. It would have been close though, right? It would have been close because I also rounded a bit over here. So roughly, I'm just going to make a rough comment here, okay? Roughly, it appears that without Xilinx, whatever, AMD would have lost money even without the OPEX from Xilinx. I know it's with an X, but whatever. I'm just writing it phonetically. And without the gross, or I should say, operating income from this company, kind of suggesting the core of AMD's business really slowed down, maybe now finally explaining why it appears NVIDIA has such a better, or such a richer, I should say, richer valuation than AMD. Because AMD's core business has slowed to a halt. Am I wrong about that? I don't know. That's my take. I think I'm right about that. Okay. All right. So now, Airbnb. Let's do a look at the dirty here. When does AMC report earnings, by the way? Is that today? Is that in 20 minutes? AMC. No, they're scheduled for the 8th. Oh, that's a week from today. Oh, okay. All right. Good. I don't have to sit here any longer. But I'm going to, because I'm going to look at Airbnb investor relations because I get so excited about this. Someone says, you are wrong. Check your math again. I don't think I am, because you just look at the operating income and you just subtract it off of and pull off their amortization, and you got nothing. It's pretty dirty. I mean, I know that's simplifying a little bit, but then again, I think that's fair because of what all we went through. We went through a lot together, okay? Now, where is Airbnb's result? Did Airbnb give me a spreadsheet? I like spreadsheets. SEC filing, shareholder letter. Nope. Oh, would you just give me the press release, please? Where is it? Shareholder letter. Here we go. There we go. Womp, womp, womp. All right, come on, Airbnb. Let's go. Okay. Boom, skitty, boom, boom, boom. Airbnb, the height of speculation. Sorry, I didn't say that. Sorry, that's mean. Sorry. Even with macro uncertainties, nights and experiences booked increased 25% compared to a year ago. Yeah, but you're comparing to like a whole. We continue to see longer lead times for bookings in Q3 and supporting a strong backlog for Q4. I mean, that doesn't sound bad. That actually sounds good. I mean, we looked at the numbers for Airbnb. I'm not going to go through all the... I'm not going to go through all the numbers again because I don't want to be redundant, since you could just rewind it. Guests continue to stay longer on Airbnb. Okay. Nights booked from long-term stays remain stable from a year ago at 20% of bookings. That's a big house hack opportunity right here, by the way. These flex rentals, huge house hack opportunity. Oh, boom, text expander to the moon. Hosts have turned to Airbnb as a form of supplemental income. This speculation is what hopefully goes away and lets us in. Fine. But even if it doesn't, we'll compete just fine. Okay. Airbnb categories, Airbnb cover. What does Airbnb cover? Improve Airbnb service levels, guest booking confidence. Yeah, whatever. Winter release, top to bottom protection for every host on Airbnb. Next. With these upgrades, we aim to unlock the next generation of hosts. Hey, that's me. Meet Melissa. That should be Meet Kevin. Who's Melissa? You don't need no Melissa. You need Kevin. All right. Let's look at this. I hate it when they do this. Why? We read from left to right, not right to left, you morons. Whoever the accountants are at Airbnb, flip this. It's so stupid. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to show you the growth by manipulating you. It's just dumb. Fine. 2884 divided by 2237. We got 28.9% growth. It's not bad. You got to give it. Oh, scheiße. You got to give it to him. That's good. And I don't know why. I'm curious about their earnings call, which is, we'll get the transcript for later. But how about their costs? Let's see here. 1680 divided by 1385. Wow. Their OPEX only went up 21%. Oh, no, but they took a negative restructuring charge of $465 million. That's misleading. Includes stock-based compensation. How do you have negative stock? What? How do you do a negative restructuring charge? Oh, all of that includes stock-based comp. Okay. So this negative restructuring is funky. All right, whatever. So I'm going to actually add that back in because I think that's BS. 1385 plus 465. Oh, yeah, no, that's. Oh, but that was last year. Oh, well, if anything, that actually helps them. That was last year. Again, I'm getting confused by the left to right thing. How interesting. Okay, well, I like to go with the worst case scenario, so then I won't add it back in because that's only a 21% increase in OPEX. And if I added it back in, it'd be a decline in operating expense. But that was a negative. A negative expense means their expenses were higher. Yeah. Oh, but that's only sorry. The 465 doesn't even matter because it's just $465,000. That's nominal. Never mind. Pretend I didn't say anything about the 465. I thought there were 3 digits after that, and they're not. It doesn't even matter. It's so nominal, it doesn't even matter. Ignore everything I said for the last minute. It's a 21% increase in costs of operations with a 28.9% increase in revenue. That's actually fair. That's not bad. Now, their EPS declined. Again, the left to right thing. Jesus. The EPS increased to $1.90. That's pretty good. I mean, if I do $1.90 annualized, which you shouldn't do because you're going to have seasonal adjustments. That's $7.60. Airbnb's trading for $100. $100 divided by $7.90 or whatever I said. No, that can't be. 1.9 times 4 divided by 7.6. 100 divided by 7.6. What? There's no way these guys are selling for 13 times earnings. There's no way. It's because I shouldn't be annualizing. Hold on. Let me look at what the forecast is here on Airbnb. That's just too good. It's just too good. Yeah, no. What? How? What? How is the forecast for Airbnb 2023 $2.82 of EPS? I mean, even the diluted over here, if I go with the $1.79, fine. That's really good. And those are actually very good numbers. If they can keep that pace, they haven't the earlier part of the year. But that's actually really good EPS. These are good numbers. I'm actually impressed. This is nice. This is really good. Look at this. They got $8.2 billion here of cash. Just looking at these two numbers right here. Again, that's Kevin's toxic way of doing assets. I do them a little differently than other people do. Some people make fun of me for that. And I'm like, F off. Go hate somewhere else. Funds payable, accrued expenses, 3.7 plus 1.558, and some nominal payables. Okay, so 5.3. Wow. Really well capitalized, too. I mean, they got like over $3 billion of free cash here. Roughly, at like a really quick look here. And then they do have long-term debt of about $2 billion, which they could pay off their long-term debt with the cash they have. This is not bad. Airbnb, I'm actually kind of impressed. Net income. Wait. Again with the left. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. I just did the left column again. Whoever wrote this report, I'm going to strangle them. That's fine. Let's see how it compares. 7.5 plus 2.1 compared to... That's 9.6. That's even better. So let me put this as in 21. 9.6 now. I'll put a little 2022 there. Minus, I'm just going to take all of this off right here. 4.8. The unearned fees, I don't subtract that. Minus 1.8 rounding. Minus another 0.2, fine. Okay, whatever. So that's like 2.7-ish billion of free cash in 2022. That's good. That's really good. Yeah, really nice net income over here. And what do we have in terms of investments? Purchase a property, like nothing, of course, because they don't buy property. This is great. I have to say, repurchases of common stock, $1 billion. Wow. And they repurchased $1 billion of common stock. Dude, this is actually not that bad. Mr. Bucker over here, who's apparently someone's name. Oh, gosh, why did I say that out loud? Oh, that's a good one. Dang it. Got me. Anyway, says the PE is too high for him. The PE is only too high when you look at the annual estimates. But honestly, this quarterly EPS here is great. This is really good. I'm impressed with Airbnb. I have to say, I was not expecting this. Really impressive. I like it. This is so much better than AMD. Yet, ironically, the stocks are trading in the opposite direction, right? But you can't look at the, stock movement. I'm going to go eat some broccoli now. FB, you're a jerk. Bye.